Life does not warn you before it tests your money. Pressure does not wait until you feel ready. One emergency, one job loss, one bad decision, one weak habit can expose what you failed to build in silence. And if you want financial independence, you must understand this truth now. It does not begin with luck, shortcuts, motivation, or perfect timing. It begins with who you become when nobody is watching. Your identity, your discipline, your decisions, your emotional control. You do not become financially strong when life gets easier. You become financially strong before life tests you. Chapter 1. Stop living like pressure will never come. Pressure does not create weakness. Pressure reveals weakness. That is the truth most people do not want to face. Life does not suddenly destroy a person in one day. It exposes what that person failed to build for years. It exposes the missing savings. It exposes the uncontrolled spending. It exposes the weak habits. It exposes the lack of planning. It exposes the person who kept saying, "I will handle it later," until later arrived with a bill, a crisis, a deadline, or a loss. Pressure reveals preparation. And if there is no preparation, pressure reveals that too. You have to stop living like pressure will never come. You have to stop acting like every month will be normal, every paycheck will arrive, every job will stay secure, every car will keep running, every body will stay healthy, every relationship will stay stable, every expense will be predictable. That is not real life. Real life changes. Real life interrupts. Real life tests you when you are tired, when you are distracted, when you are comfortable, when you thought you had more time. And that is why financial strength must be built before the test. Not during the test. Before the test. Prepare before you are forced. Most people do not lose control because they make one mistake. They lose control because they live without a system. They earn money, spend money, hope nothing happens, and repeat the same cycle every month. They call it normal. They call it living. But it is not living. It is drifting. It is financial drifting. And drifting always feels harmless until the current gets stronger. A person earns a decent income. They are not lazy. They are not stupid. They work. They show up. They pay some bills. They buy things they want. They go out when they feel stressed. They order food when they are tired. They upgrade their phone because they deserve it. They take a weekend trip because life is short. They subscribe to things they barely use. They spend little amounts again and again and again. Then the car breaks down. Suddenly, the repair costs more than expected. Now there is panic. Now there is stress. Now there is a credit card being used, not as a tool, but as a rescue rope. Now there is borrowing. Now there is embarrassment. Now there is anger. But the car did not create the financial weakness. The car revealed it. Pressure reveals preparation. Life tests what you ignored. The emergency was not the beginning of the problem. The emergency was the moment the problem became visible. That is the key. You cannot wait for fear to teach you what discipline could have taught you earlier. Fear is an expensive teacher. Fear charges interest. Fear takes your sleep. Fear takes your peace. Fear makes you say yes to things you should have the power to refuse. Fear makes you stay in bad jobs, bad deals, bad situations, and bad patterns because you have no financial margin. Prepared people move differently. Prepared people sleep differently. Prepared people are harder to control. This is not about being rich tomorrow. It is about being ready. It is not about having everything figured out. It is about refusing to live blind. It is not about perfection. It is about protection. Saving is not pessimism. Saving is protection. Budgeting is not restriction. Budgeting is defense. You have to change how you see discipline. Discipline is not there to punish you. Discipline is there to protect you from a version of life that does not care about your feelings. Discipline protects you from panic. Discipline protects you from impulse. Discipline protects you from being controlled by every unexpected expense. You have a choice. You can prepare while you still have time, or you can scramble when time runs out. You can build a reserve when life is calm, or you can beg for options when life becomes loud. You can tell your money where to go, or you can wonder where it went. You can control the habit, control the future, or you can let the habit control you. Control the habit, control the future. That is not a slogan. That is survival. Look at your monthly spending. Not emotionally. Not defensively. Look at it clearly. How much money comes in? How much money goes out? How much disappears into convenience, image, boredom, stress, and poor planning? How much are you spending because you are tired? How much are you spending because you want to feel important? How much are you spending because you do not want to face your own anxiety? This is where financial strength begins. It begins with looking. You cannot control what you refuse to look at. You cannot improve what you keep pretending is fine. You cannot build stability while hiding from the truth. So look at the truth. Look at the bank account. Look at the debt. Look at the subscriptions. Look at the habits. Look at the weekends. Look at the emotional purchases. Look at the small leaks. Because small leaks do not stay small. They become patterns. Patterns become lifestyles. Lifestyles become prisons. And once you are trapped, you will wish you had paid attention earlier. Prepare before you are forced. You do not need their permission to become disciplined. You do not need your friends to understand. You do not need your family to approve. You do not need society to clap for you while you build quietly. Most people will not understand why you are changing. They will ask why you are saving. They will ask why you are saying no. They will ask why you are not spending like before. Let them ask. You are not building for applause. You are building for freedom. Build before you show. That means you may have to look ordinary for a while. You may have to drive the same car longer. You may have to stop eating out so much. You may have to cancel what you do not use. You may have to say no to trips, upgrades, and purchases that make you feel good for a moment but weaker in the long run. That is not failure. That is maturity. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort says, spend it now. You deserve it. Freedom says, protect your future. You will need it. Comfort says, do not think about problems. Freedom says, prepare before problems arrive. Comfort says, everyone else is doing it. Freedom says, everyone else is not responsible for your consequences. You have a choice. And the choice is not always dramatic. It is usually small. It is made in the grocery store. It is made on payday. It is made when you are scrolling online. It is made when your friends invite you somewhere you cannot afford. It is made when you receive extra money and decide whether to waste it, save it, invest it, or use it to reduce pressure. Financial strength is built in these small decisions. Not once. Repeatedly. You must start doing 3 things. First, build a basic emergency fund. Even if it starts small. Even if it feels slow. Even if you can only set aside a little. The amount matters less than the identity you are building. You are becoming someone who does not spend everything. You are becoming someone who creates distance between yourself and panic. Second, create a monthly plan before the month begins. Not after the damage is done. Before. Decide what must be paid. Decide what must be saved. Decide what must be cut. Decide what matters. Every dollar needs direction. Money without direction will follow emotion. Third, practice saying no. Say no to spending that weakens you. Say no to habits that keep you unprepared. Say no to living for appearances. Say no to the version of yourself that only thinks about today. It is not about fear. It is about responsibility. It is not about being cheap. It is about being awake. It is not about denying yourself forever. It is about refusing to sacrifice your future for temporary comfort. That is the key. Because life is easier to face when you have margin. A medical bill feels different when you have savings. A job loss feels different when you have reduced your debt. A delayed paycheck feels different when your lifestyle is not built to the edge. A broken phone, a broken car, a slow season, a family emergency, a sudden move, all of it feels different when you prepared before you were forced. Prepared people move differently. They do not panic as quickly. They do not accept disrespect as easily. They do not depend on luck as much. They do not need every situation to be perfect, because they have built a foundation under themselves. And that foundation is not built by motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It is built by repetition. It is built by boring decisions. It is built by doing the right thing when nobody sees it. It is built by saving when you would rather spend, planning when you would rather avoid, waiting when you would rather rush, choosing freedom over comfort. Control your money before pressure arrives. Control your habits before life exposes them. Control your time before emergencies steal it. This is how you become financially strong. Not by pretending life will never test you, but by respecting the fact that it will. You have now learned that pressure does not create weakness. It reveals preparation, and your job is to prepare before you are forced. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 2. Your money follows your mind. Your money follows your mind. Before your money changes, your identity must change. Before your bank account becomes stronger, your self-image must become stronger. Before your habits become disciplined, your mind must stop accepting the identity of a careless person, an unlucky person, an impulsive person, or a powerless person. Because you do not spend only from your wallet. You spend from who you think you are. That is the truth. Your habits reveal your beliefs. Your budget reveals your priorities. Your savings reveal your patience. Your debt reveals your decisions. Your calendar reveals what you are building. And your money, whether you like it or not, is always following the mind that directs it. If your mind is chaotic, your money will become chaotic. If your mind is reactive, your money will become reactive. If your mind is controlled by emotions, your money will be controlled by emotions. That is why financial strength does not begin with a spreadsheet. It begins with identity. The spreadsheet matters. The budget matters. The numbers matter. But the person behind the numbers matters more. Because if you give a weak identity a strong income, it will still find a way to waste it. If you give an undisciplined mind more money, it will only create more expensive problems. You have a choice. You can keep saying, "I am bad with money," and then live down to that sentence. Or you can stop repeating that identity and start practicing a new one. Not pretending. Not performing. Not lying to yourself. Practicing. Become the person first. That is the key. Most people wait for money to make them disciplined. They say, "When I earn more, I will save. When I get a better job, I will plan. When things calm down, I will get serious." But that is backwards. If you cannot direct a small amount with discipline, a larger amount will only give your bad habits more room to move. Money does not fix identity. Money exposes identity. Give two people the same paycheck. One person gets paid and immediately starts looking for relief. Food delivery. New clothes. Small online purchases. A night out. A payment delayed. A bill ignored. A little spending here. A little spending there. By the end of the week, the money is almost gone, and the person says, "I do not know where it went." But they do know. It went where their identity sent it. It went to comfort. It went to escape. It went to impulse. It went to approval. It went to the old belief that money is something to spend before it disappears. Now look at the second person. Same paycheck. Same amount. Same economy. Same pressure. But this person moves differently. They save first, even if the amount is small. They pay obligations first. They check what is due. They keep money for necessities. They invest in a book, a course, a tool, a skill, or transportation to work. They do not spend to prove they are okay. They use money to make sure they will be okay. The difference is not income first. It is identity first. One sees themselves as a consumer. The other sees themselves as a builder. One says, "I need to feel better now." The other says, "I need to become stronger for later." One spends from emotion. The other decides from identity. Your money follows your mind. You spend from who you think you are. This is why you must stop speaking weakness over your financial life. Stop saying, "I am just bad with money." Stop saying, "Money never stays with me." Stop saying, "I cannot save." Stop saying, "People like me do not get ahead." Every time you say that, you are giving your mind instructions. You are building a cage with your own language. You do not need their permission to change your identity. You do not need a perfect background. You do not need a rich family. You do not need applause. You do not need everyone to understand. You need a decision. Then you need evidence. Daily evidence. Small evidence. Repeated evidence. Identity becomes behavior. And behavior becomes proof. If you want to become financially disciplined, start acting like someone who protects their future. That does not mean you suddenly become perfect. It means you stop negotiating with the habits that keep you weak. It is not about shame. It is about ownership. It is not about being flawless. It is about being responsible. It is not about hating your past. It is about refusing to repeat it. That is the key. Every day, you must ask yourself, what would a financially strong person do with this decision? When you get paid, ask it. When you want to spend, ask it. When you are tired and want to avoid checking your account, ask it. When friends pressure you to spend money you do not have, ask it. When you receive extra income, ask it. When you feel emotional and want to buy something to escape your own discomfort, ask it. What would a financially strong person do? Then do that. Not because it is easy, because it is who you are becoming. Become the person first. Decide like the future matters. Your habits reveal your beliefs. If you believe your future matters, you will stop treating your paycheck like entertainment money. If you believe your peace matters, you will stop ignoring bills until they become threats. If you believe your freedom matters, you will stop trading long-term stability for short-term comfort. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort will always speak loudly. Comfort will say, "You worked hard. Buy it." Comfort will say, "You deserve a break." Comfort will say, "Everyone else is doing it." Comfort will say, "You can start next month." But freedom speaks differently. Freedom says, "Save first." Freedom says, "Pay what you owe." Freedom says, "Delay the purchase." Freedom says, "Build before you show." Freedom says, "Control the habit, control the future." And that is where your identity is tested. Not in big public moments. In private financial decisions. In small acts of self-control. In the quiet moment when nobody will know whether you chose discipline or weakness. But you will know. And every decision teaches you who you are. If you spend every time you feel pressure, you teach yourself that you are controlled by pressure. If you avoid your money every time you feel fear, you teach yourself that fear is in charge. If you save even when it is small, you teach yourself that you are a builder. If you say no when you could say yes, you teach yourself that your future has authority over your impulse. Control the habit, control the future. This is not motivation. This is training. You are training your identity. So start with practical actions. Simple actions. Serious actions. First, change the sentence. Stop saying, "I am bad with money." Say, "I am learning to control my money." Say, "I am becoming disciplined." Say, "I protect my future now." Not as empty affirmation, as a command to your behavior. Second, create a first money rule. When money comes in, the first movement must support your future. Save something. Pay an obligation. Reduce debt. Invest in a skill. Do not let impulse touch the money before identity gives it direction. Third, track your emotional spending. Do not just ask what you bought. Ask why you bought it. Were you tired? Lonely? Angry? Bored? Trying to impress someone? Trying to feel in control? The purchase is the symptom. The emotion is the signal. Learn the signal, and you can break the pattern. Fourth, build proof daily. One controlled decision per day. One no. One saved amount. One bill checked. One skill practiced. 1 hour used wisely. You do not change your financial identity by thinking about change. You change it by collecting proof that you are no longer the same person. That is how identity becomes behavior. And behavior becomes freedom. You do not need to become rich to become responsible. You do not need a high income to become disciplined. You do not need perfect conditions to become stable. You start where you are. You use what you have. You stop waiting for a future version of yourself to rescue you. You become that person now. Because the world will not stop testing you while you figure yourself out. Bills will still come. Emergencies will still happen. Opportunities will still require preparation. Time will still pass. And every month you live from the same old identity, you repeat the same old results. Your money follows your mind. So train your mind. Train it to pause. Train it to plan. Train it to save. Train it to delay. Train it to learn. Train it to build. Train it to choose freedom over comfort. You are not powerless. You are practiced in old patterns. And what has been practiced can be replaced. With discipline. With repetition. With ownership. With a new identity. You have now learned that your money follows your mind, and that financial strength begins when you stop repeating weakness and start acting like someone who protects the future. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 3. Stop spending like you are still lost. Spending without direction is financial bleeding. That is the truth. Not every financial problem comes from low income. Some problems come from leakage. Small leaks. Quiet leaks. Repeated leaks. The food you keep ordering because you are tired. The subscription you forgot about but still pay for. The device you upgrade before you need to. The clothes you buy to feel different for a day. The purchases you make when you are stressed, bored, lonely, angry, insecure, or trying to prove something to people who are not paying your bills. That is not lifestyle. That is emotional confusion wearing the mask of lifestyle. And you have to stop spending like you are still lost. Every dollar needs a job. Every dollar needs direction. Every dollar must either protect you, support you, strengthen you, teach you, or serve a clear purpose. If your money has no assignment, your emotions will assign it for you. And emotions are expensive. Stress is expensive. Insecurity is expensive. Boredom is expensive. Approval is expensive. You have a choice. You can direct your money, or you can let your feelings drag it out of your hands. That is the key. Most people do not admit they are bleeding money because the bleeding does not feel dramatic. It feels normal. A coffee here. Delivery there. A small upgrade. A streaming service. A quick purchase. A weekend out. Another payment plan. Another, I deserve this. Another, it was only a little. Another, I will start saving next month. But small leaks become large chains. One careless purchase does not ruin you. A repeated pattern does. One meal ordered out does not destroy your future. But ordering food constantly while saying you cannot save reveals something. It reveals that comfort is making financial decisions for you. One subscription does not break you. But paying for 5 things you barely use while complaining that money never stays reveals something. It reveals that you have not looked closely enough. One upgrade does not trap you. But always needing a newer version before your foundation is stable reveals something. It reveals that image is competing with freedom. Stop spending like you are still lost. Track it. Face it. Cut what weakens you. You cannot control what you refuse to look at. This is where many people get defensive. They say, I am not allowed to enjoy life. That is not the point. This is not about hating enjoyment. It is about refusing to let enjoyment become escape. It is not about being cheap. It is about being awake. It is not about punishing yourself. It is about protecting yourself. Saving is not suffering. Budgeting is not prison. Discipline is not the enemy of joy. Discipline is what keeps short-term pleasure from becoming long-term stress. Choose freedom over comfort. Because comfort, when uncontrolled, becomes a bill. Comfort becomes debt. Comfort becomes panic at the end of the month. Comfort becomes avoiding your bank account. Comfort becomes needing the next paycheck before it even arrives. Comfort becomes pretending you are fine while your future quietly weakens. And the most dangerous part is that uncontrolled spending often looks socially normal. People will encourage it. They will tell you to treat yourself. They will tell you life is short. They will tell you everyone has payments. They will tell you not to think too much. But they will not live with your consequences. They will not wake up with your anxiety. They will not make your minimum payments. They will not rescue your future. You do not need their permission to become disciplined. You do not need their approval to change your habits. You do not need their understanding to protect your money. Build before you show. That means you stop spending to look stable and start acting stable. You stop buying the appearance of progress and start building the foundation of progress. You stop using money to create a temporary identity and start using money to support the identity you are becoming. A financially strong person does not ask, "Can I buy this?" A financially strong person asks, "What does this purchase do to my future?" That question changes everything. Does this purchase protect me? Does it help me earn? Does it support my health? Does it strengthen my skill? Does it solve a real problem? Or does it just make me feel better for 15 minutes? Be honest. Not with shame. With seriousness. Because you cannot fix what you keep defending. Think about the person who says, "I cannot save." They mean it. They feel trapped. They feel like their income is never enough. But then you look at the month. Food delivery again and again. Convenience purchases. Impulse shopping. Late fees. Unused memberships. Apps charging quietly. Entertainment spending. Random online orders. Small purchases that never felt serious enough to question. The problem is not always income. Often, it is leakage. And leakage does not feel like failure until you calculate it. That is why you must track it. not guess. Track. Write it down. Use a note. Use a spreadsheet. Use an app. Use paper. Use whatever you will actually use. But track the money. Track every unnecessary purchase for 30 days. Every snack. Every ride. Every delivery fee. Every subscription. Every impulse buy. Every emotional purchase. Every little escape. You may not like what you see. Good. Awareness is the beginning of control. You cannot control what you refuse to look at. Once you track it, you face it. You do not make excuses. You do not blame the economy for the part that belongs to your habits. You do not blame your childhood for the part that belongs to your decisions today. You do not blame your friends for the yes that came out of your mouth. You face it. Then you cut what weakens you. Cut the subscription you do not use. Cut the spending that exists only because you are bored. Cut the habit of ordering food when there is food at home. Cut the need to upgrade when what you have still works. Cut the weekend spending that leaves you anxious on Monday. Cut the purchases that are really just emotional medication. Control the habit, control the future. This is not about never spending money. This is about spending with direction. There is a difference. Directed spending supports your life. Lost spending drains your life. Directed spending has purpose. Lost spending has impulse. Directed spending is chosen before emotion takes over. Lost spending happens because emotion took the wheel. Every dollar needs a job. Some dollars pay bills. Some dollars buy food. Some dollars reduce debt. Some dollars build savings. Some dollars invest in skills. Some dollars support health. Some dollars allow reasonable enjoyment. But every dollar must be named. Every dollar must be assigned. Every dollar must know where it is going before the month starts. If you do not give your money a mission, your weakness will give it one. That is the key. Start doing this every payday. Before you spend, pause. Look at what came in. Decide what leaves. Decide what stays. Decide what protects the future. Decide what must not be touched. Separate needs from wants. Separate pressure from planning. Separate emotion from direction. Then practice the sentence that changes behavior, not now. Not never. Not because you are poor. Not because you are powerless. Not because you cannot enjoy life. Not now, because the future matters. Not now, because I am building. Not now, because I choose freedom over comfort. Not now, because I refuse to spend like I am still lost. This is how discipline becomes real. Not in theory. In the moment of temptation. In the moment when the purchase is easy. In the moment when nobody is watching. In the moment when the old identity says, just buy it, and the new identity says, I am not controlled by impulse anymore. That moment is where financial strength is built. The world will keep offering you reasons to spend. It will sell you convenience. It will sell you identity. It will sell you status. It will sell you escape. It will make wasting money feel normal and discipline feel extreme. But you must remember what you are building. You are building stability. You are building options. You are building peace. You are building the ability to face pressure without panic. Prepared people do not bleed money without noticing. Prepared people track it. Prepared people face it. Prepared people cut what weakens them. Prepared people move differently because they have stopped letting every emotion become a transaction. You have a choice. Keep leaking money and call it life. Or control your spending and call it ownership. Keep buying comfort and losing peace. Or choose freedom over comfort. Keep spending like you are lost. Or decide, today, that every dollar must serve the person you are becoming. You have now learned that uncontrolled spending is often emotional confusion disguised as lifestyle, and that every dollar needs direction before your emotions spend it for you. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 4. Build wealth before you look wealthy. Looking successful too early can keep you financially weak. That is the truth. One of the fastest ways to delay real freedom is to spend your money trying to look like you already have it. Many people do not build wealth. They buy the costume of wealth. They buy the appearance of progress while their foundation is still fragile. They upgrade the outside while the inside is still unstable. They decorate a weak foundation and call it success. Do not decorate a weak foundation. Build before you show. That is the key. There is a stage in your financial life where your progress must be quiet. It must be private. It must be invisible to people who only respect what they can see. You may be improving, but nobody notices. You may be saving, but nobody claps. You may be paying down debt, but nobody celebrates. You may be building an emergency fund, learning a skill, reducing waste, and strengthening your habits, but from the outside, your life may look the same. Good. Let it look the same. Stack before you shine. Quiet wealth is stronger than loud approval. The problem is that most people cannot tolerate invisible progress. They want evidence they can post. They want proof other people can admire. They want their income increase to show immediately. New apartment. New car. New clothes. New restaurants. New trips. New lifestyle. New pressure. Then they wonder why they still feel trapped. Because their income rose, but their freedom did not. A person gets a raise. They finally make more money than before. This is the moment that could change their direction. This is the moment they could build savings faster. Pay off debt faster. Invest in skills. Create breathing room. Reduce anxiety. Prepare before life tests them. But instead, they upgrade everything. Rent goes up. Car payment goes up. Eating out increases. Social spending increases. Clothing spending increases. Subscriptions increase. Weekend plans get more expensive. The paycheck is bigger, but the pressure remains. The outside looks upgraded, but the inside is still weak. They look better, but they are not freer. And that is a dangerous trade. You have a choice. You can use more income to buy more image, or you can use more income to buy more freedom. You can impress people for a moment, or you can protect yourself for years. You can spend the raise before it changes your life, or you can make the raise serve your future. Build before you show. Freedom first, image last. That sentence must become a rule. Not a suggestion. A rule. Freedom first, image last. Savings before status. Stability before style. Ownership before approval. Emergency fund before upgrades. Debt reduction before decoration. Skill building before showing off. Long-term independence before short-term applause. It is not about looking poor. It is about being serious. It is not about denying yourself forever. It is about refusing to perform success before you possess stability. It is not about fear. It is about discipline. Choose freedom over comfort. Because comfort will tell you that you deserve the upgrade. Comfort will tell you that now that you earn more, you should spend more. Comfort will tell you that people should see your progress. Comfort will tell you that you have waited long enough. Comfort will tell you that looking successful will make you feel successful. But freedom asks a harder question. Are you actually stronger? Do you have more saved? Do you owe less? Do you have more control over your time? Do you have more options? Can you survive pressure? Can you say no to a bad opportunity because you are not desperate? Can you leave a disrespectful situation because your money gives you room to move? That is real progress. Not applause. Options. Not image. Control. Not appearance. Freedom. Quiet wealth is stronger than loud approval. You do not need their permission to build quietly. You do not need your friends to understand why you still live below your means. You do not need your coworkers to understand why you did not upgrade your car. You do not need social media to validate your progress. You do not need strangers to believe you are doing well. You need your life to actually become stronger. That is the key. Many people are broke because they are addicted to being seen. Not because they have no income. Not because they have no ability. But because they cannot let progress stay private. Every improvement must be displayed. Every raise must become lifestyle. Every bonus must become a purchase. Every win must be converted into something visible. But if every win becomes visible, nothing gets stored. Nothing gets built. Nothing gets protected. Control the habit, control the future. The habit of showing too early is expensive. The habit of upgrading too quickly is dangerous. The habit of comparing your lifestyle to others will keep you financially tired. Because there will always be someone with a newer car, a bigger apartment, better clothes, better photos, better vacations, better-looking success. But you do not know their numbers. You do not know their debt. You do not know their stress. You do not know what they owe. You do not know what they fear. You do not know how close they are to panic. So stop competing with appearances. Stop using someone else's image as permission to weaken your own foundation. Stop trying to look financially strong before you have become financially strong. Build before you show. Do not decorate a weak foundation. Here is what you must stop doing. Stop increasing your lifestyle every time your income increases. Stop letting a raise become an excuse to spend more. Stop treating extra money like a reward that must disappear. Stop buying things because you want people to know you are improving. Stop confusing expensive with successful. Stop calling pressure normal just because other people live under it too. And here is what you must start doing. When your income rises, pause. Do not move too quickly. Do not immediately upgrade. Give the new money a job before your old habits claim it. Decide what percentage will go to savings. Decide what will go to debt. Decide what will go to investing in skills, tools, or stability. Decide what small amount can be enjoyed without destroying the bigger mission. Every dollar needs direction. Every raise needs discipline. Every upgrade needs timing. That is maturity. You are allowed to enjoy your money. But enjoyment must not destroy your freedom. You are allowed to improve your life. But improvement must not become performance. You are allowed to buy nice things. But not before your foundation can carry them. Do not decorate a weak foundation. If you have no emergency fund, your first upgrade is savings. If you have high-interest debt, your first upgrade is less pressure. If your skills are outdated, your first upgrade is learning. If your schedule is uncontrolled, your first upgrade is discipline. If your mind is impulsive, your first upgrade is self-control. Those upgrades are not always visible, but they are powerful. Stack before you shine. Because invisible progress compounds. A paid-off debt may not impress strangers, but it gives you breathing room. A growing emergency fund may not get likes, but it protects your peace. A new skill may not look flashy today, but it can increase your value tomorrow. A controlled lifestyle may look boring from the outside, but it can create freedom on the inside. Prepared people move differently because they do not need every win to be seen. They can let success grow in silence. They can hold money without rushing to spend it. They can receive more and still live with control. They can say, "Not yet," because their future has authority over their ego. That is power. Delayed gratification is not weakness. Delayed gratification is command. It is you telling your impulses, "You do not lead here." It is you telling your desire for approval, "You do not own me." It is you telling your future, "I am protecting you before the world sees the result." Choose freedom over comfort. Build before you show. Freedom first, image last. Repeat that until it becomes how you move. Repeat it when you get paid. Repeat it when you get a raise. Repeat it when you want to upgrade. Repeat it when people are watching. Repeat it when nobody is watching. Repeat it when your ego wants to prove something. You have nothing to prove to people who will not pay your bills. You have nothing to prove to people who will not carry your stress. You have nothing to prove to people who disappear when pressure arrives. Your responsibility is to build a life that can stand. A life with margin. A life with savings. A life with fewer chains. A life where your money is not only spent but directed. A life where your habits are not controlled by ego. A life where you can face pressure without collapsing. That is financial strength. Not looking wealthy. Becoming stable. Not being admired. Becoming free. You have now learned that looking successful too early can delay real freedom, and that you must build before you show, stack before you shine, and put freedom first and image last. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 5. Discipline is the price of freedom. Discipline is the price of freedom. Not motivation. Not luck. Not wishing. Not waiting for life to become easier. Freedom is not created by doing whatever you want today. Freedom is created by doing what your future requires, even when your present feelings resist it. That is the truth. Most people misunderstand freedom. They think freedom means no rules, no limits, no structure, no sacrifice. They think freedom means spending whenever they want, eating whatever they want, sleeping whenever they want, avoiding hard conversations, ignoring bills, delaying responsibility, and chasing comfort every time discomfort appears. But that is not freedom. That is impulse. And impulse becomes a cage. Comfort now can become control later. The meal you buy every day because you do not want to prepare food can become the savings you never built. The payment plan you accept because you want the thing now can become the pressure you carry for months. The debt you ignore because facing it feels uncomfortable can become the chain that limits your decisions. The hour you waste every night can become the skill you never developed. Pay the price before life charges interest. Because life charges interest. It charges interest on avoidance. It charges interest on weak habits. It charges interest on emotional spending. It charges interest on laziness, delay, and pretending everything will somehow fix itself. And the longer you refuse discipline, the more expensive your freedom becomes. You have a choice. You can pay with discipline now, or you can pay with regret later. You can pay with controlled decisions today, or you can pay with fewer options tomorrow. You can say no now so you can say yes later. That is the key. Say no now so you can say yes later. Control today, options tomorrow. Freedom belongs to the disciplined. This is not about becoming cold. It is not about hating pleasure. It is not about living like a machine. It is about becoming serious enough to protect your own future. It is about understanding that every uncontrolled decision costs more than it appears to cost. It is about seeing beyond the moment. Because the moment always wants to win. The moment says, buy it. The moment says, skip it. The moment says, you deserve comfort. The moment says, you can start next week. The moment says, it does not matter. But the future is listening. And every time you obey the moment without thinking, you teach the future to expect less from you. Control the habit, control the future. Think about the person who looks boring from the outside. They bring lunch to work. They set automatic savings. They avoid unnecessary debt. They do not upgrade every time they get extra money. They study after their shift. They spend 1 hour learning a skill while someone else scrolls. They say no to nights out they cannot afford. They check their budget before making decisions. They live below their means, not because they lack ambition, but because they have direction. From the outside, it may look boring. But boring discipline creates powerful results over time. That person is buying options. Quietly. Repeatedly. Without applause. They are building before they show. They are choosing freedom over comfort. They are paying the price before life charges interest. Then one day pressure arrives. A bill comes. A job changes. An opportunity appears. A bad situation demands a decision. And that disciplined person moves differently. They have savings. They have fewer chains. They have skills. They have a calmer mind. They have room to think. They have options. Prepared people move differently. Disciplined people move differently. Free people move differently. Now compare that to the person who rejects discipline because it feels restrictive. They spend when they want. They avoid numbers. They borrow for lifestyle. They ignore small debts until they become large debts. They use comfort as medicine. They treat every desire like an emergency. They say yes to everything that feels good and no to everything that builds strength. They may feel free in the moment, but they are not free. They are controlled by appetite, controlled by pressure, controlled by payments, controlled by approval, controlled by fear, controlled by the next paycheck, controlled by habits they never trained. Comfort now can become control later. That is why discipline is not punishment. Discipline is protection. Discipline is the fence around your future. Discipline is the guard at the door of your peace. Discipline is the decision to stop letting every emotion turn into an expense, every desire turn into debt, every tired moment turn into self-sabotage. It is not about restriction. It is about direction. It is not about weakness. It is about command. It is not about denying yourself life. It is about building a life that cannot be easily taken from you. That is the key. You do not need their permission to become disciplined. Some people will mock your discipline because your discipline exposes their lack of it. They will call you boring. They will call you strict. They will say you think too much. They will say you should live a little. But many of those same people are one emergency away from panic, one missed paycheck away from desperation, one unexpected bill away from borrowing. Do not take financial advice from people who are controlled by their own habits. You have a choice. You can be respected for your appearance today, or you can be protected by your discipline tomorrow. You can chase approval, or you can build independence. You can look free while being trapped, or you can look ordinary while becoming powerful. Build before you show. Freedom first, image last. Now make this practical. Discipline must become visible in your daily routine. Not as an idea. As behavior. Start with your money. Set automatic savings, even if the amount is small. Do it before your emotions negotiate with you. Make the money leave before weakness enters the room. Treat savings like a bill owed to your future. Because it is. Your future is not begging for leftovers. Your future deserves payment. Then attack unnecessary debt. Not with panic. With a plan. Know what you owe. Know the interest. Know the minimums. Know the order. Stop adding new debt for things that do not strengthen your life. Debt for image is dangerous. Debt for impulse is dangerous. Debt for comfort can become control later. Pay the price before life charges interest. Then discipline your spending. Bring lunch if eating out is draining you. Cancel what you do not use. Delay purchases for 24 hours before buying. Ask whether the purchase supports your goals or just your mood. Give every dollar a job. Every dollar must know where it is going. Every dollar must serve the mission. Then discipline your time. Because your money and your time are connected. The hours after work matter. The mornings matter. The weekends matter. The quiet moments matter. If you say you want financial independence but spend every spare hour in distraction, your habits are voting against your words. Use time to build value. Learn a skill. Improve your work. Study your industry. Practice communication. Improve your health. Organize your finances. Plan your week. Read. Train. Apply. Repeat. Not once. Daily. Control today, options tomorrow. This is where transformation becomes real. You stop waiting for a perfect mood. You stop waiting until you feel inspired. You stop waiting for January, Monday, next month, or after the next paycheck. You start now. You choose one disciplined action and repeat it until it becomes part of who you are. Identity becomes behavior. Behavior becomes evidence. Evidence becomes confidence. And confidence becomes freedom. Every controlled decision is a vote for independence. Every time you save instead of waste, you vote for freedom. Every time you say no to unnecessary debt, you vote for freedom. Every time you prepare instead of react, you vote for freedom. Every time you choose learning over distraction, you vote for freedom. Every time you build before you show, you vote for freedom. And those votes compound. Slowly at first. Quietly at first. Then powerfully. 1 disciplined month becomes breathing room. 6 disciplined months become stability. A year of disciplined choices can change how you see yourself. Years of disciplined choices can change the direction of your life. No fake promise. No shortcut. No fantasy. Just repetition. Just ownership. Just control. Freedom belongs to the disciplined. And the disciplined person understands something the impulsive person refuses to accept. You cannot have every comfort now and every option later. Some choices must be made. Some desires must be delayed. Some invitations must be declined. Some purchases must wait. Some habits must die. Some old versions of you must be left behind. Choose freedom over comfort. Not because comfort is evil. Because comfort without discipline becomes a cage. You are not building discipline to impress anyone. You are building discipline so life has less power to break you. You are building discipline so money becomes a tool, not a source of constant fear. You are building discipline so your future is not controlled by your past impulses. Discipline is the price of freedom. Pay it daily. Pay it quietly. Pay it before life charges interest. You have now learned that freedom is not created by doing whatever you want today, but by doing what your future requires, and that discipline is the payment required for options, peace, and control. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 6. Kill the habit that keeps you broke. 1 habit can keep you trapped. Not 10 habits. Not your whole life. Not every mistake you have ever made. Sometimes 1 repeated pattern is enough to sabotage years of work. 1 habit that keeps draining your money. 1 habit that keeps weakening your discipline. 1 habit that keeps pulling you back to the same stress, the same debt, the same panic, the same waiting for the next paycheck. Name the habit. That is where freedom begins. You cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to identify. You cannot break a pattern you keep calling normal. You cannot protect your future while defending the behavior that is quietly destroying it. One habit can keep you trapped. For one person, it is impulse spending. They see it, they want it, they buy it. No pause. No plan. No question. No connection to the future. For another person, it is emotional shopping. They do not buy because they need something. They buy because they feel something. Stress becomes spending. Boredom becomes spending. Sadness becomes spending. Insecurity becomes spending. For another person, it is avoiding bills. They do not open the email. They do not check the account. They do not answer the call. They do not face the number. They hide from the truth until the truth becomes bigger, louder, and more expensive. For another person, it is ignoring debt. They make minimum payments and pretend progress is happening. But the balance barely moves. Interest keeps eating. Pressure keeps growing. And they keep acting like the debt is just part of life. For another person, it is gambling behavior. Not always inside a casino. Sometimes it is reckless trading, risky bets, lottery thinking, chasing quick wins, hoping one lucky move will fix years of weak decisions. For another person, it is refusing to learn new skills. They complain about income but refuse to become more valuable. They want better opportunities but do not prepare for them. They want a different life but keep repeating the same level of effort. Name the habit. Break the pattern before it breaks your future. That is the key. Because your habit is not random. It is a cycle. It has a beginning. It has a trigger. It has a feeling. It has a behavior. It has a consequence. Then it repeats. Look at the person who gets paid on Friday. The money arrives, and for a few hours, they feel powerful. They feel safe. They feel like they have room. So the weekend begins. Food, drinks, shopping, going out, sending money, buying things, saying yes, acting like the money will never run out. By Monday, the account is lower than expected. By Wednesday, stress begins. By the second week, they are borrowing, using credit cards, delaying bills, waiting desperately for the next paycheck. Then the next paycheck arrives, and the cycle starts again. That is not bad luck. That is a pattern. That is not freedom. That is a loop. Control the habit, control the future. You have a choice. You can keep treating the habit like a personality trait, or you can treat it like an enemy. You can keep saying, that is just how I am, or you can say, that is the pattern I am breaking. You can keep letting one habit decide your financial future, or you can attack it directly. Not 10 habits at once. One enemy first. Find the leak. Close the leak. Protect the future. This matters because trying to fix everything at the same time often becomes another form of avoidance. You make a huge plan. You promise to change everything. You swear you will never spend, never waste, never delay, never fail again. Then life gets stressful. The plan feels heavy. You slip once. Then you quit. That is not discipline. That is drama. Discipline is focused. Discipline is specific. Discipline points at one target and says, you first. Find the one habit that is costing you the most. Not only in money, but in peace. The habit that makes you feel weak afterward. The habit that creates shame. The habit that steals your options. The habit that makes you start over every month. The habit that keeps you financially small. Name the habit. Say it clearly. My habit is spending the first weekend after payday. My habit is ordering food when I am tired. My habit is ignoring my bills until they become urgent. My habit is buying things when I feel insecure. My habit is using credit cards to protect my comfort. My habit is avoiding skill building after work. Say it without excuses. Not with shame. With ownership. It is not about being flawed. It is about being disciplined. It is not about hating yourself. It is about training yourself. It is not about pretending the habit is easy to break. It is about deciding your future is worth the fight. That is the key. Once you name the habit, you must study the trigger. Every destructive habit has a doorway. Something opens it. A feeling. A time of day. A person. A place. A thought. A situation. A payday. A stressful meeting. A lonely night. A social invitation. A tired body. An empty refrigerator. A phone in your hand. Find the doorway. If you always overspend after payday, payday is not just income. Payday is a trigger. If you always order food after work, tiredness is not just tiredness. It is a trigger. If you always shop when you feel inadequate, insecurity is not just emotion. It is a trigger. If you always avoid bills because they make you anxious, anxiety is not just discomfort. It is a trigger. Find the leak. Then close the leak. Closing the leak means you do not rely on willpower in the moment. Willpower is weakest when emotion is strongest. You need structure. You need friction. You need rules that protect you before the old habit wakes up. If payday is your danger zone, move money immediately. Save first. Pay bills first. Separate spending money from survival money. Do not leave all your money sitting in one place where impulse can reach it. If food delivery is the leak, prepare simple meals before the week begins. Not perfect meals. Simple meals. Food that is ready when you are tired. Because tired people make expensive decisions. If subscriptions are the leak, cancel them today. Not later. Today. If you do not use it, cut it. If it does not support your future, cut it. If it weakens your foundation, cut it. If emotional shopping is the leak, create a 24-hour rule. Do not buy in the emotion. Wait. Walk away. Let the feeling pass. If the purchase still makes sense tomorrow and fits the plan, decide then. But never let a temporary mood control permanent money. If avoiding debt is the leak, schedule one financial appointment with yourself every week. Same day. Same time. Check balances. Check payments. Check progress. No drama. No running. Face it. You cannot control what you refuse to look at. Track it. Face it. Cut what weakens you. Protect the future. And understand this, the habit will fight back. The old pattern will not disappear just because you made one decision. It will test you. It will whisper. It will justify. It will say, just this once. It will say, you deserve it. It will say, you can start next week. It will say, this small thing does not matter. But small things repeated become your life. One habit repeated becomes your direction. Control the habit, control the future. This is where you must become serious. Not angry. Serious. Not emotional. Serious. You must stop negotiating with a habit that has already cost you too much. You do not need their permission to change. If your friends expect you to spend, let them adjust. If your family does not understand your new boundaries, let them watch. If people call you boring because you are protecting your money, let them talk. You are not building for their approval. You are building for your freedom. Build before you show. Choose freedom over comfort. Because comfort is often the reward your bad habit uses to keep you loyal. It gives you relief for a moment, then takes peace from your future. It gives you pleasure today, then sends stress tomorrow. It gives you escape, then leaves you with the same problem and less money. That is not a reward. That is a trap. Break the pattern before it breaks your future. Do not wait until the habit becomes a crisis. Do not wait until the debt becomes unbearable. Do not wait until the account is empty again. Do not wait until you are ashamed again. Do not wait until life forces you to change under pressure. Prepare before you are forced. The strongest people are not the ones who never had damaging habits. The strongest people are the ones who found the pattern and refused to keep feeding it. They became honest. They became disciplined. They became consistent. They stopped trying to fix their whole life in one emotional moment and started attacking one enemy at a time. One leak closed creates breathing room. One controlled habit creates confidence. One broken pattern creates proof. And proof changes identity. When you stop the habit that kept you broke, you do more than save money. You regain trust in yourself. You prove that your future has power over your impulse. You prove that you are not trapped by old behavior. You prove that discipline is possible. You prove that you can become the kind of person who cannot be financially controlled. That is financial strength. Not perfection. Control. Not image. Ownership. Not excuses. Freedom. Name the habit. Find the leak. Close the leak. Protect the future. Repeat it until the old pattern loses authority. Repeat it until your money stops bleeding. Repeat it until your decisions match the person you are becoming. You have now learned that one repeated habit can quietly sabotage an entire life, and that you must name the habit, break the pattern, and close the leak before it breaks your future. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 7. Increase your value before you demand more. Your value must rise. That is the truth. Wanting more money is not enough. Complaining about low pay is not enough. Feeling overlooked is not enough. Believing you deserve better is not enough. If you want more income, more leverage, more opportunity, and more control, you must become more useful, more capable, more consistent, more trusted, more valuable. Do not just want more. Become worth more. That is the key. This is not a fake promise. This is not about pretending anyone can become rich overnight. This is not about some shortcut that removes effort from the process. This is about reality. Income growth is often connected to skill, responsibility, problem-solving, consistency, and value. The market does not reward what you wish you were. It rewards what you can solve, carry, create, improve, manage, communicate, and deliver. Your value must rise. Skills create options. And options create freedom. You have a choice. You can spend your energy complaining that you are underpaid, or you can spend your energy becoming harder to ignore. You can keep repeating the same level of effort and hope life rewards you differently, or you can build new evidence. You can wait for someone to see your potential, or you can become so prepared that your value becomes visible. You do not need their permission to improve. You do not need your boss to inspire you. You do not need your coworkers to push you. You do not need your environment to be perfect. You do not need applause before you begin. You need ownership. You need discipline. You need private hours. You need a decision that says, "My future income will not be left to chance." Your future income is built in your private hours. Remember that. The hours after work matter. The commute matters. The lunch break matters. The early morning matters. The quiet evening matters. The weekend matters. Not because you must always be working. Not because rest is wrong. But because a person who wants a different financial life cannot waste every spare hour and then wonder why nothing changes. Learn after work. Practice when tired. Your future income is built in your private hours. This is where the serious person separates from the emotional person. The emotional person wants more but does not train. The serious person wants more and prepares. The emotional person complains about the door being closed. The serious person builds the key. The emotional person waits to be chosen. The serious person increases value until new options appear. Think about two workers. They earn the same pay. They work in the same company. They have the same manager, the same schedule, and the same complaints available to them. One worker complains every day. They talk about how unfair the pay is. They do the minimum. They avoid extra responsibility. They never improve their skills. They never ask how the business works. They never learn a new tool. They never improve communication. They never become easier to trust. They stay the same, but demand more. The second worker sees the same problems, but chooses differently. They learn the software everyone avoids. They improve how they write emails. They become clearer in meetings. They show up on time. They solve problems before being asked. They document processes. They take ownership. They learn what creates value in the company. They ask better questions. They become the person others rely on. Over time, the second worker has leverage. Not magic. Leverage. They can ask for more with evidence. They can apply elsewhere with stronger skills. They can move into better roles. They can take on side work. They can build confidence because their value is not just a feeling. It is visible. It is practiced. It is useful. Skills create options. And options matter because options reduce desperation. When you have no skills, no savings, no discipline, and no plan, you are easier to control. You accept less because you have less to offer and fewer places to go. You stay silent because you are afraid. You tolerate disrespect because you feel trapped. You keep waiting for someone to rescue you. But when your value rises, you move differently. You negotiate differently. You interview differently. You work differently. You think differently. Prepared people are harder to control. Skilled people are harder to control. Disciplined people are harder to control. That is why increasing your value is part of financial independence. It is not only about saving money. It is not only about spending less. It is also about becoming the kind of person who can create more, solve more, earn more, and adapt when life changes. Control the habit, control the future. And one of the most important habits you can control is the habit of learning. Most people stop learning unless someone forces them. School ends, and their growth slows down. Training ends, and they stop training. They do the same tasks for years and call it experience. But experience without improvement can become repetition. And repetition without growth can become stagnation. Your value must rise. So ask yourself seriously, what skill would make you more valuable in the next 6 months? Not someday. Not in theory. In the next 6 months. Is it communication, sales, writing, data analysis, project management, a trade skill, a technical tool, financial literacy, leadership, negotiation, customer service, coding, design, operations, public speaking, time management, a certification that actually matters in your field? Pick one, not 10. One. Then build a plan around it. Learn after work. Practice when tired. Repeat when bored. Apply what you learn. Ask for feedback. Improve your work. Build proof. Create examples. Use the skill in real situations. Do not just consume information. Convert learning into ability. That is the key. Because knowledge that never becomes action does not increase your value. Watching videos is not enough. Reading books is not enough. Saving courses is not enough. Talking about ambition is not enough. You must practice. You must produce. You must apply. It is not about looking busy. It is about becoming capable. It is not about collecting information. It is about building skill. It is not about wanting more. It is about becoming worth more. Choose freedom over comfort. Because comfort will tell you to relax every night. Comfort will tell you that you are too tired to learn. Comfort will tell you that one more hour of scrolling does not matter. Comfort will tell you that growth can wait. Comfort will tell you that your current level is enough. But freedom says, prepare. Freedom says, practice. Freedom says, build before you show. Freedom says, do the private work now so you have public options later. Your future income is built in your private hours. This does not mean you ignore your health. It does not mean you never rest. It means your rest must be honest, not avoidance dressed up as self-care. There is a difference between recovery and escape. Recovery restores you so you can build. Escape keeps you from facing what must be built. You have a choice. Use your private hours to numb yourself, or use them to strengthen yourself. Use your evenings to repeat the same distractions, or use a portion of them to become more capable. Use your weekends only to recover from a life you do not control, or use part of them to build a life that gives you more control. No one is coming to force you. That is why ownership matters. You must stop waiting for ideal conditions. Stop waiting until you have more energy. Stop waiting until your job becomes easier. Stop waiting until people support you. Stop waiting until motivation returns. Serious growth is not built on perfect conditions. It is built on repeated decisions. A tired person can still study for 30 minutes. A busy person can still practice one skill. A frustrated person can still improve communication. A person with limited money can still use free resources, practice deliberately, and build proof over time. Again, no fake promises. You may not become wealthy quickly. You may not get promoted immediately. You may not see results in 1 week. But you will become stronger. You will become more prepared. You will become harder to ignore. And over time, increased value creates increased options. That is real ambition. Not fantasy. Not noise. Not pretending. Disciplined skill building. And while you build, remember this: do not let new income destroy old discipline. When your value rises and your income grows, do not immediately spend all the progress. Do not upgrade everything. Do not let more money become more leakage. Build before you show. Stack before you shine. Use increased income to create more stability, not just more image. Because earning more without discipline is not freedom. It is a bigger cycle. Your money follows your mind. Your habits reveal your beliefs. Your value must rise. So become the person who builds value daily. Become the worker who solves problems. Become the learner who practices when tired. Become the communicator people trust. Become the person who takes ownership instead of waiting to be rescued. Become the person who can stand in a room and know, quietly, that they have been preparing. You do not need their permission. You need proof. Build proof in your habits. Build proof in your skills. Build proof in your work. Build proof in your discipline. Build proof in your bank account. Build proof in your ability to say no to comfort and yes to freedom. Do not just want more. Become worth more. You have now learned that income growth is connected to skill, responsibility, problem-solving, consistency, and value, and that your future income is built in your private hours. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 8. Protect your peace from financial chaos. Financial chaos steals peace. That is the truth. When your money is disorganized, your mind becomes disorganized. When your bills are unclear, your thoughts become unclear. When your spending has no direction, your emotions become reactive. When you do not know your numbers, fear fills in the blanks. And fear always charges a price. It steals your sleep. It steals your confidence. It steals your focus. It steals your patience. It makes you embarrassed. It makes you defensive. It makes you easier to pressure, easier to manipulate, easier to control. Financial chaos steals peace. Order creates calm. A clear plan quiets fear. That is the key. You cannot build financial independence while living in financial darkness. You cannot master money while refusing to look at it. You cannot protect your future if every bill surprises you, every due date scares you, and every account balance feels like a threat. Avoidance may feel comfortable for a moment, but it creates pressure later. You have a choice. You can avoid the numbers and let fear grow. Or you can look at the numbers and begin to regain control. Look at the numbers. Make the plan. Move with control. Most people do not realize how much emotional energy financial disorder consumes. They think they are just tired. They think they are just stressed. They think life is heavy for no reason. But underneath the stress, there is often unfinished financial business. A bill not opened. A payment not scheduled. A debt not faced. A subscription still draining. A budget never written. A paycheck already spent before it arrives. That kind of disorder follows you. It follows you to work. It follows you to bed. It follows you into conversations. It follows you into decisions. It makes small problems feel bigger because your foundation already feels unstable. It turns normal life into constant tension. Financial chaos steals peace. And peace matters. Peace is not luxury. Peace is strength. Peace gives you the ability to think clearly. Peace helps you make better decisions. Peace stops you from reacting to every emotion. Peace gives you the patience to build. Without peace, you become impulsive. You spend to escape. You borrow to delay. You ignore what needs attention. You accept bad choices because you want fast relief. That is how chaos reproduces itself. Panic creates bad decisions. Bad decisions create more panic. The cycle continues. Control the habit, control the future. Think about one person who avoids checking their account. They know the number may be low, so they do not look. They know a bill is due, so they avoid the email. They know the credit card balance is rising, so they pretend it is not urgent. They miss due dates. They pay late fees. They feel embarrassed. They feel behind. They spend anyway because the situation already feels hopeless. That person may not be lazy. That person may be afraid. But fear without structure becomes chaos. Now think about another person. This person may not be rich. They may still be paying debt. They may still have a modest income. They may still have pressure. But they know their numbers. They know what comes in. They know what goes out. They know what is due. They pay on schedule. They save automatically, even if it is small. They check their accounts without drama. They make decisions with clarity. This person is not free from all problems. But they are no longer blind. And when you are no longer blind, fear loses power. A clear plan quiets fear. That is why financial order is emotional discipline. It is not only about math. It is about peace. It is about looking reality in the face and saying, I will not run from this anymore. It is about refusing to let anxiety make your decisions. It is about replacing panic spending, fear decisions, and avoidance with structure. It is not about being perfect. It is about being present. It is not about having a lot of money. It is about having control over the money you have. It is not about shame. It is about ownership. You do not need their permission to create order. You do not need to explain why you are checking your budget. You do not need to apologize for saying no. You do not need to defend your plan to people who benefit from your lack of boundaries. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort says, "Do not look. It will stress you out." Freedom says, "Look now so it does not control you later." Comfort says, "Ignore it until payday." Freedom says, "Face it before it grows." Comfort says, "Spend a little to feel better." Freedom says, "Make the plan and move with control." That is the key. You must build a financial control system. Not complicated. Not perfect. A simple system you can repeat. First, choose one day each week to review your money. Same day. Same time. No drama. No excuses. Call it your financial reset. You check your accounts. You check what bills are coming. You check what has been paid. You check what can be saved. You check what must be cut. Look at the numbers. Second, list every monthly obligation. Rent. Utilities. Phone. Insurance. Transportation. Debt payments. Subscriptions. Food. Any regular expense. Bring it out of the fog and onto the page. You cannot control what you refuse to look at. Once you see it, you can direct it. Make the plan. Third, automate what protects you. Automatic savings. Automatic bill payments when safe. Calendar reminders before due dates. Separate accounts if needed. Structure exists because motivation is unreliable. Structure protects you when you are tired. Structure protects you when you are emotional. Structure protects you when life gets loud. Move with control. Fourth, create a panic rule. When you feel financial fear, do not spend immediately. Do not borrow immediately. Do not make emotional promises. Pause. Breathe. Look at the numbers. Ask what is actually true. Ask what must be handled first. Fear wants speed. Control requires clarity. A clear plan quiets fear. Fifth, create a peace fund. Even if it starts small. Call it an emergency fund. Call it a buffer. Call it protection. The name does not matter. The purpose matters. Money set aside is emotional protection. It creates space between you and panic. It gives your mind room to think. Prepared people sleep differently. Prepared people move differently. Prepared people are harder to control. And this is why order matters. When your money is chaotic, people can pressure you more easily. A bad job can control you because you have no margin. A toxic situation can hold you because you have no savings. A lender can profit from your panic because you have no plan. An impulse can own you because you have no structure. But when you create order, your posture changes. You stop begging the month to work out. You start directing it. You stop hoping there is enough. You start knowing what must happen. You stop being surprised by bills. You start preparing for them. You stop spending like you are still lost. You start deciding like the future matters. Build before you show. Because financial order may not impress anyone. Nobody claps because you paid on time. Nobody applauds because you checked your account. Nobody celebrates because you canceled a wasteful subscription. Nobody praises you because you built a small buffer. But your nervous system notices. Your future notices. Your confidence notices. Quiet discipline produces quiet peace. And quiet peace becomes power. Do not underestimate the strength of a calm mind. A calm mind does not chase every impulse. A calm mind does not panic at every problem. A calm mind can negotiate. A calm mind can plan. A calm mind can learn. A calm mind can say no. A calm mind can choose freedom over comfort. That is financial strength. Not just more money. More control. Not just higher income. More order. Not just ambition. More peace. You have a choice. Keep letting financial chaos steal your peace, or start creating order one decision at a time. Look at the numbers. Make the plan. Move with control. Repeat it weekly. Repeat it when you are afraid. Repeat it when you are tired. Repeat it until your money is no longer a dark room you avoid, but a system you lead. You have now learned that financial disorder creates emotional disorder, and that peace is protected when you look at the numbers, make the plan, and move with control. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 9. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort is expensive. That is the truth. Comfort looks harmless in the moment. It feels soft. It feels deserved. It feels normal. It tells you that you have worked hard, that you should relax, that you should make life easier right now. But uncontrolled comfort has a cost. And if you keep paying for comfort with your future, the life that feels easy today can become a prison tomorrow. Comfort is expensive. Freedom requires choices. Choose freedom over comfort. That is the key. Most people do not lose their freedom all at once. They trade it away slowly. One payment at a time. One upgrade at a time. One convenience at a time. One emotional purchase at a time. One postponed decision at a time. They do not notice the cage forming because every bar feels comfortable when it first appears. A bigger apartment. A newer car. More eating out. More subscriptions. More weekend spending. More debt. More lifestyle. More pressure. At first, it feels like improvement. Then it becomes obligation. Then it becomes control. Comfort now can become control later. That is why you must become serious about what comfort is costing you. Not only in money, in options, in peace, in time, in leverage, in your ability to say no, in your ability to survive pressure, in your ability to choose a better future instead of being trapped by old decisions. You have a choice. You can buy comfort now and lose power later. Or you can accept temporary sacrifice and buy future control. You can live easy for a moment and remain dependent. Or you can live with discipline for a season and become stronger. Less comfort now, more power later. Temporary sacrifice. Long-term independence. Freedom is built by choices nobody applauds. This is where many people misunderstand sacrifice. They hear the word sacrifice and think misery. They think punishment. They think deprivation. They think life is being taken from them. But strategic sacrifice is not misery. Strategic sacrifice is direction. It is you deciding that your future matters more than your impulse. It is you refusing to be owned by short-term pleasure. It is not about suffering. It is about selecting. It is not about poverty. It is about priorities. It is not about hating comfort. It is about making comfort earn its place. That is the key. Think about the person who chooses a cheaper apartment even though they could technically qualify for something more expensive. Other people may not understand. They may say, "Why not live somewhere nicer?" But this person understands the mission. The lower rent creates breathing room. The breathing room pays debt. The breathing room builds savings. The breathing room allows them to learn, move, adapt, and handle emergencies. They are not depriving themselves. They are buying future control. Think about the person who keeps an older car. It still runs. It gets them to work. It does the job. They could upgrade. They could sign the payment. They could impress someone for a few months. But instead, they keep the car and direct the difference toward financial strength. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. Think about the person who gets a raise and refuses lifestyle inflation. They do not immediately increase every expense. They do not turn new income into new pressure. They save more. They invest in education. They reduce debt. They build an emergency fund. They build before they show. That person may look ordinary, but ordinary with control is stronger than impressive with chains. Build before you show. Freedom first, image last. Choose freedom over comfort. The world will not teach you this. The world profits when you choose comfort without thinking. It wants you tired. It wants you impulsive. It wants you comparing. It wants you upgrading. It wants you believing that every desire is a need and every inconvenience is unacceptable. But you must become harder to sell to. You must become harder to pressure. You must become harder to manipulate. Prepared people are harder to control. Disciplined people are harder to control. People who choose freedom over comfort are harder to control because they are not desperate for approval, ease, or instant relief. You do not need their permission to live differently. You do not need their approval to keep your expenses low. You do not need their approval to say no. You do not need their approval to avoid debt, cook at home, drive the older car, share housing, work extra hours for a season, study after work, or live below your means. You are not building your life for their applause. Freedom is built by choices nobody applauds. Nobody may clap when you skip the purchase. Nobody may notice when you bring lunch. Nobody may praise you for choosing a smaller place. Nobody may celebrate when you stay home and study instead of spending. Nobody may admire you while you pay down debt quietly. But your future will notice. Your bank account will notice. Your confidence will notice. Your peace will notice. And pressure will notice when it cannot break you as easily. That is financial strength. Control the habit, control the future. The habit of comfort is one of the most powerful habits because it disguises itself as self-care. And sometimes, rest is needed. Sometimes comfort is appropriate. Sometimes enjoying your money is healthy. But there is a difference between rest and escape. There is a difference between reward and avoidance. There is a difference between enjoying life and weakening your future. Rest restores you. Escape distracts you. Reward is planned. Impulse is uncontrolled. Comfort with discipline is fine. Comfort without discipline becomes a cage. So ask yourself the hard question: what comfort is costing you freedom? Is it the apartment that consumes too much income? Is it the car payment that keeps you stressed? Is it the food delivery that drains your savings? Is it the shopping habit that appears whenever you feel insecure? Is it the social spending that forces you to borrow? Is it the refusal to learn because distraction feels easier? Is it the comfort of avoiding your numbers? Name it. Face it. Cut what weakens you. You cannot control what you refuse to look at. And once you identify the comfort that is costing you freedom, you must create a rule. Not a vague hope. A rule. If housing is too expensive, make a plan to reduce it when possible. Maybe not today. Maybe not instantly. But stop pretending the pressure is normal. If the car is too expensive, stop upgrading and consider the real cost. If eating out is the leak, set a limit and prepare food. If shopping is emotional, use a waiting period. If your evenings disappear into distraction, set 1 hour aside for skill building before entertainment. Learn after work. Practice when tired. Your future income is built in your private hours. Less comfort now, more power later. This is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It is not the kind of discipline people post about every day. But it works because it changes the direction of your life. It reduces pressure. It creates margin. It strengthens identity. It teaches your mind that you are not a slave to every desire. That is power. You may have to be uncomfortable for a season. Good. Let discomfort train you. Let it reveal where you are weak. Let it teach you patience. Let it remind you that you are building something bigger than momentary ease. Because temporary discomfort is not the enemy. Permanent dependence is the enemy. Temporary sacrifice. Long-term independence. You must understand this clearly. If you avoid every discomfort now, you may create a life where you have no choice later. No choice but to work in places you hate. No choice but to accept terms you dislike. No choice but to borrow. No choice but to panic. No choice but to depend on people who can use your need against you. Comfort without discipline takes your choices. Freedom requires choices. So choose now while you still can. Choose the smaller expense. Choose the delayed purchase. Choose the plan. Choose the savings. Choose the skill. Choose the quiet path. Choose the version of you that can endure a little discomfort today to become harder to control tomorrow. That is the key. Do not confuse sacrifice with losing life. You are not giving up life. You are refusing to be owned by short-term pleasure. You are not giving up happiness. You are building peace. You are not giving up success. You are creating the foundation for real success. You are not falling behind. You are stepping out of the race that keeps people broke and anxious. Choose freedom over comfort. Say it when the desire appears. Choose freedom over comfort. Say it when comparison starts. Choose freedom over comfort. Say it when people pressure you. Choose freedom over comfort. Say it when your old habits want to return. Because every time you choose freedom, you become stronger. Every time you delay comfort, you build control. Every time you reduce a chain, you create space. Every time you build before you show, you prove that your future has authority over your ego. This is how financial independence is built. Not through fantasy. Not through luck. Not through pretending. Through disciplined choices repeated until your life becomes harder to control. You have now learned that comfort is often the enemy of independence, and that temporary sacrifice can buy long-term control when you choose freedom over comfort. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 10. Become the person money cannot control. True financial strength is not just having money. It is becoming the kind of person money cannot control. That is the truth. Money can control you when you are afraid. Money can control you when you are desperate. Money can control you when your habits are weak, your savings are empty, your debt is heavy, your skills are outdated, your time is wasted, and your emotions make your decisions. But when you become stable, disciplined, skilled, patient, and emotionally hard to manipulate, money stops being your master. It becomes your tool. Become financially hard to control. Own yourself first. Money respects the prepared. That is the key. The goal is not to look rich. The goal is not to impress people. The goal is not to perform success for strangers. The goal is to become a person who can make decisions from strength. A person who can survive pressure. A person who can say no. A person who can walk away. A person who can wait. A person who can build in silence. A person who cannot be easily pushed, bought, frightened, or rushed. That is financial independence. Not fantasy. Identity. Not luck. Discipline. Not appearance. Control. Control your money. Control your habits. Control your time. Build before you show. You have a choice. You can live as a person who reacts to money, or you can become a person who directs money. You can be controlled by bills, pressure, approval, and impulse, or you can build enough order inside yourself that outside pressure has less power over you. You can keep chasing temporary comfort, or you can choose freedom over comfort. Freedom belongs to the person who owns themselves first. Because before you can control money, you must control the person handling it. You must control the hand that swipes the card. You must control the mouth that says yes. You must control the ego that wants to be seen. You must control the fear that avoids the numbers. You must control the impatience that wants everything now. You must control the habit that keeps repeating the same damage. Own yourself first. Control the habit, control the future. Think about someone who has built real stability. Not someone showing off. Not someone pretending. Someone who has done the quiet work. They have savings. Maybe not millions, but enough to breathe. They have low debt because they refuse to turn every desire into a payment. They have useful skills because they learned after work and practiced when tired. They have controlled spending because every dollar has direction. They have a long-term plan because they stopped living like pressure would never come. This person may not look flashy, but they are stronger than they look. If a bad situation appears, they have options. If a job becomes disrespectful, they can think clearly. If an emergency hits, they do not collapse immediately. If someone pressures them financially, they do not panic as quickly. If a purchase tempts them, they can wait. If the world gets loud, they can return to the plan. They do not need to impress everyone. They need to remain free. That is the difference. Most people want the image of freedom. Few are willing to build the structure of freedom. The image is easy to buy. The structure is built through repeated decisions. Saying no. Saving first. Paying debt. Learning skills. Checking numbers. Reducing waste. Delaying comfort. Protecting time. Practicing emotional control when nobody is watching. Build before you show. Quiet discipline creates quiet power. And that quiet power is what makes you financially hard to control. When you have no savings, fear speaks louder. When you have too much debt, pressure speaks louder. When your skills are weak, disrespect speaks louder. When your spending is uncontrolled, every paycheck becomes a rescue mission. When your time is wasted, your future income stays limited. When your emotions control your money, your peace becomes fragile. That is not freedom. That is dependence. And dependence does not always look obvious. Sometimes dependence wears nice clothes. Sometimes dependence drives a newer car. Sometimes dependence lives in a better apartment. Sometimes dependence posts confidence online. But behind the image, there is panic. Behind the image, there are payments. Behind the image, there is no margin. Behind the image, there is fear. Do not decorate a weak foundation. Freedom first, image last. Choose freedom over comfort. It is not about being poor. It is about being prepared. It is not about being cheap. It is about being controlled. It is not about denying yourself life. It is about refusing to let short-term pleasure own your long-term future. That is the key. You must become the kind of person who can hold money without rushing to spend it. The kind of person who can feel stress without trying to buy relief. The kind of person who can get paid and move with order. The kind of person who can receive more income and not immediately increase every expense. The kind of person who can be tired and still protect the plan. Because money respects the prepared. Money respects direction. Money respects patience. Money respects the person who does not panic every time discomfort appears. Money respects the person who gives it a job before emotion gives it away. Money respects the person who understands that financial independence is practiced before it is achieved. Control your money. That means know what comes in. Know what goes out. Know what you owe. Know what you keep. Know what you are building. Do not let your money live in darkness. Look at the numbers. Make the plan. Move with control. Control your habits. That means name the leak. Close the leak. Protect the future. Stop defending the behavior that weakens you. Stop calling impulse personality. Stop calling avoidance peace. Stop calling emotional spending self-care. Break the pattern before it breaks your future. Control your time. That means stop giving your best hours to distraction and then wondering why your value has not increased. Your future income is built in your private hours. Learn after work. Practice when tired. Build the skill. Improve the communication. Become useful. Become capable. Become trusted. Skills create options. Control your desires. That means not every want becomes a purchase. Not every emotion becomes an expense. Not every invitation gets a yes. Not every upgrade is earned just because you can technically afford the payment. You do not need their permission to say no. You do not need their approval to live below your means. You do not need applause to build quietly. You have a choice. Every day, you are choosing what will control you later. If you choose debt for image, that debt may control you later. If you choose comfort over discipline, that comfort may control you later. If you choose avoidance, the problem may control you later. If you choose weak habits, those habits may control you later. But if you choose discipline, discipline gives you options. If you choose saving, saving gives you peace. If you choose skills, skills give you leverage. If you choose patience, patience gives you strength. If you choose ownership, ownership gives you identity. Financial independence is not a fantasy. It is a practiced identity. You practice it when you save a small amount instead of spending everything. You practice it when you pay what you owe. You practice it when you open the bill instead of avoiding it. You practice it when you bring lunch. You practice it when you keep the older car. You practice it when you study after work. You practice it when you say no to people who do not understand your mission. You practice it when you choose freedom over comfort. These decisions may look small. They are not small. They are votes. Every controlled decision is a vote for independence. Every disciplined habit is a vote for freedom. Every quiet sacrifice is a vote for the future. Every moment of emotional control is a vote for the person you are becoming. And over time, those votes become identity. Identity becomes behavior. Behavior becomes stability. Stability becomes power. Power becomes freedom. This is the transformation. From stress to stability. From impulse to discipline. From avoidance to ownership. From short-term thinking to long-term control. From needing approval to building quietly. From being financially easy to pressure to becoming financially hard to control. Own yourself first. Money respects the prepared. Become financially hard to control. Do not wait for life to test you before you become serious. Do not wait for the emergency, the job loss, the bill, the crisis, the pressure, the regret. Prepare before you are forced. Build before you show. Choose freedom over comfort. Control your money. Control your habits. Control your time. This is how you become the person money cannot control. You have now learned that true financial strength is not just having money, but becoming stable, disciplined, skilled, patient, and emotionally hard to manipulate. This is where the lesson comes full circle. Because the next step is not another chapter. The next step is your life. The next step is what you do today. This is the lesson. Life will test you, and when it does, your excuses will not protect you. Your image will not protect you. Your motivation will not protect you. Only what you built will protect you. So control your money. Control your habits. Control your time. Stop spending like your future does not matter. Stop living like pressure will never come. Build before you show. Save before you celebrate. Learn before you demand. Prepare before you are forced. Choose freedom over comfort, because comfort without control becomes a cage. You do not need to look wealthy. You need to become stable. You do not need to impress people. You need to become impossible to financially control. Today, choose one action. Cut one expense. Save one amount. Pay one debt. Learn one skill. Make one decision that proves your future is no longer being ignored. Do it today. Not tomorrow. Today.